And a very good evening, everybody, and welcome to Fairway to Heaven, right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We are live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You know the drill. Wherever you're watching, make sure you hit those like, share, subscribe, retweet, follow buttons wherever you are, and get interactive with the best fantasy and gambling golf show there is out there. I am your host, Phil Stiefel, at Beard and Knowledge, and as always, my main partner in crime, Jason Sullivan, is sitting in next to me. We are back after our 1 week hiatus. Had to take a little hiatus, a little dental work, a little Michigan State football or basketball, but we are back for this week's not Honda, but Cognizant CIA Classic. Jason, how you doing tonight?
How many times did you practice that before the show, and then you still said Honda?
Yeah, no, that was purposely done. Did you not catch it? That was purposely done? Oh my God. Man, my acting was so good you didn't realize that I was acting.
We're back. One of the best tournaments of the year. One of the best tournaments of the year, in my opinion, honestly. I really like this tournament. I don't like the name, but I like the tournament.
So, real quickly, I told you, we talked about it this morning. I looked up what Cognizant is, and I have no idea. I read the Cognizant Classic Wikipedia page, or the Cognizant Technologies Wikipedia page, and literally, if you read it, it looks like and sounds like a front for the CIA. And I know that might get me clipped at some point for saying that. But it does. It sounds like something out of Homeland or Jack Ryan or something like that. Literally, it's a front. There's no doubt in my mind that there's no real company called Cognizant.
And what devotion, too. I mean, look at you Wikipedia'd something. I mean, that is a dedicated host right there.
I am a dedicated person, more so just because I have no clue what the hell a Cognizant is. I'm very cognizant of the fact that I don't know what Cognizant is. Dude, I've been practicing a bunch of different puns on that. Just so you know.
Best part is you texted me that exact joke twice, I think, already this week.
Oh, that's it? Just twice?
Once yesterday.
In my mind, I've said it about 7 or 8 other times. All right, so we got lots to talk about this week. We got this week's episode on this Cognizant Classic, a great tournament, because PGA National, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated courses in the test of skills, category there is on tour. They've really struggled to get high quality fields for this event. It's been rearranged, a new sponsor and stuff like that. There's a slightly better field, but still with API next week and the players right after that, it's not the elite field that it should be. What can they do anything to make, do they really have to move it to a totally different part of the season? Or is there a way that they can kind of attract, maybe this is a course that should have a designated event?
That's the hard part. I mean, you've seen designated event or elevated events now they're called, right? You've seen those, 2 of the past 3 weeks? It's it's pretty tough to find a spot for this. You think it'd be perfect to get you set up for, API next week. And like you said, the players coming up here soon. It seems like the perfect course. It's almost like a major style course. And I know that they've held a Ryder Cup here, but never a major, I don't think, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a major here before. No,
but it's a major style course. It really is.
Yeah. They have done it's always one of those grinder tough courses. You don't see 20, 24 unders at this course. A lot of events have finished in that 8 to 11 range. We might see a few more birdies this year. They did change one of the par 4s to a par 5, a very short par 5. It's in my notes somewhere. 10. Not whole 10. I can't.
It's 10. Yeah, it's 10.
10. They took like a 502-yard par 4 and made it like a 520-yard par 5. So we might get like a slightly more birdie type, event this week. But it is still a pretty good field. And it's a great course, and anything with Jack Nicklaus's name attached to it, hey, I'm game.
Yeah, like you said, it's a tough course. I mean, it really is. It's like we said, a major style course, tons of water in plant 15 of the holes. Like, that's wild. I mean, everybody talks about the bear trap 15, 16, and 17, but in actuality, obviously that bear trap's tough, but 5, 6, and 7 actually plays tougher the past few years than the bear trap. So this is a tough course. They did put number 10. They did make that into a par 5, which is almost like a gimme birdie at this point. But like you said, the winning score is going to be like minus 11, minus 10, probably somewhere in that range.
It would be very hard stretch to find a winning score in the 15, 18, 19, under par score. Even with, a pretty elite field, not a pretty elite field for this tournament. There's so many, unknowns with, lower level guys this week that it's going to be really hard to really nail down a player pool this week, nail down, the exact type of golfers. Um, what are you looking at in a golfer? Because this is, it's a tough course, but there's a lot of dog legs. There's a lot of water, obviously, so you can't be too wonky off the, off the tee. Like, what are you looking for in a golfer right now?
It's a true test. I mean, you're going to see tee to green super important. Approach is always super important. Around the green is going to be really important this week. I don't go big into buckets usually. I know like a lot of people at Rick Run Good always talks about the different driving or approach buckets. But if you look at the approach shots from 125 to 150, 150 to 175, and 175 to 200, I mean, you're going to get a lot of approach shots from that range. So I did weigh all those this week. It's going to be a true test. I think strokes gained total is another one to look at this week.
It's funny because I have gotten into the habit of using those approach numbers, which I never did before. This week, I took all the buckets out of my model instead of going because I think it was 30% fall between 150 and 175, and like 25% just below it. No, so literally like 80% are in that 125 to 175 range. I just went like 25% of my model on approach. I just heavy, overloaded approach, generally speaking, because it's so important this week. Ball striking is important this week, I think, and around the green and scrambling because you're going to have balls landing in the water nonstop this week. That scrambling is a severely underrated aspect of this week's tournament.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I'm always a big around the green person, but I think this week is really, really important.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. Obviously, I also think because of the water that's in play on 15. I was listening to Rick Run Good yesterday, and he said he counted 16 holes. He's not sure, why he's got one different number than everybody else. But you got to find grinders that can, save par, or avoid the big number, when they, plunk a drive in the water.
Yeah.
I try to stay away from bogey avoidance just because on tour, nobody like everybody. It's every event, every week. It seems like it's a birdie fest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But this is a week that you kind of got to tap into it a little bit.
Well, and that's a good point too. This par's a good score this week. I mean, by no means is par bad. I mean, like we said, the winning score being 10 under or so this week. I mean, you're gonna have to make par. It's a major style event.
Yeah, I don't think Eric knows too much about golf. It's scrambling in the water or in a birdie. Yes,
Yes.
Eric. You don't want to be in the water. You got to scramble to get out of the water. That's what it is, my man. All right, so we got a loaded field.
Hey,
and,
real quick,
it starts.
Real quick, how'd you get that aim higher on there? It's pretty sweet.
There's when you log into the StreamYard, when you click the link, there's an option to add a bottom, a bottom little thing.
Sorry.
I put different motivational quotes when I use it, down there. Aim higher is not for golf; it's just part of life, be a better person, aim higher. You like that?
I do like it. I just noticed it. Sorry to interrupt you.
Anyways. No, it's all good. I wanted to get into Rory McIlroy because he's in the field this week. He's obviously the highest priced golfer, and I want to talk about the upper 12K and the 5K part of it in a second. I don't know if you watched any of the match last night. Another one of those charity match events happened last night. Kind of feel like they're getting a little too frequently and too many. They've lost their excitement. But one thing I saw last night with Rory, it was Max Homa and two ladies from the LPGA. I don't watch enough women's golf to Lexi something, and I'm not sure who the other lady was. But I saw something last night from Rory. I watched like 5 minutes of it, and he was smiling. Is that literally maybe the key to unlocking Rory? I read that he's off the advisory board now. He's worrying about him, his family, and golf more than anything else. Is a little fun for Rory actually a good thing? And maybe I should change my opinions on Rory this week.
He moved out of Florida too. He doesn't even live in America anymore.
That's good.
He
heard my jokes this morning on Trending at the AM.
Yeah, he doesn't even live in America anymore. I think it's great to see him having fun. I think that's the biggest thing. I think he had the weight of the world on his shoulders the past couple of years.
Absolutely.
And I think he was the most vocal one. Obviously, him and Rahm until Rahm, decided to go. But like Rory kind of got thrown under the bus, like we've talked about it before. And it's been a lot of pressure on him. He wants to win another major. He's been really good. He just hasn't won. I mean, he's won tournaments. He just hasn't won the major. So I definitely think
Right.
I don't know. I definitely think it's pressure lifted off of him a little bit this year. I think he's
Mhm.
back to having fun. But did you happen to see when the reporter after the match tried to put her hand on his back? He did not like that.
No, I did not see that.
He was asking a question, and she put her hand up on his like shoulder, and he was like, and somebody posted on Twitter, and they were like, he was acting like Patrick Reed just tried to put his arm around him or something. Like it was very weird.
Oh man, no, I thought you were going to bring up Taylor Gooch. Saying if Rory won the Masters and completed his his Grand Slam, that it would be an asterisk next to it because of all the guys on live. And I just like, oh my
Taylor Gooch
god,
is Taylor Gooch is one of those guys that just says things to like. He reminds me of like Patrick Beverly of of golf. Like just says stuff just to stay in the news and try to stay
Pat
relevant.
Beverly's kind of a hot topic in Philly these days.
Well, I know, but like
Since he left Philly, so it's
he
a
feels the
very
need to comment
relevant
on it.
name on a Philadelphia sports
Right.
network right here.
Well, just you know what I mean? Like just how Pat Bev just has to comment on everything.
Yeah, he does. He does. So real quick, Rory's over 12K, he's 12-2 this week. Mitch, I see your comment, Mitch. Rory's 12-2, and we got a whole bunch of guys in the 5K. It seems to be a trend on DraftKings where we're getting a lot of guys, not a lot, but regularly guys priced over 12K. And this is what, the third time this year we've
Mhm.
seen guys priced in the 5K range. I know your answer already because you told me it before the show. But for the listening audience, are you a fan of these, you know, this change in DraftKings philosophy week to week?
So that's kind of the way it used to be. Like I know you didn't play back in like 2015 or something, but they used to have a
I
5K
do not
range all
know.
the time. And I actually that was one thing I don't like it at all. I think putting Rory at 12K plus and then not having a 5K range would make you make a decision. It's so easy to put Rory in a lineup
Absolutely.
and still feel good about it. You put Rory in and then put a 5K or low 6K guy in, and then you feel completely fine about it. You can build like normal. So I feel like I like the pricing up, especially when a guy like Rory is so much better than everybody else in this field.
Mhm.
I like putting him in the 12s, but I don't like the 5K range at all.
I think I never thought of it that way. Like I like that because I do like seeing, Rory or when the Masters comes, Rahm will probably be in that 11-5, 12K range, or Scotty Scheffler 12-2. You know, putting the 5K makes it a lot easier of a decision. I didn't think of it that way, and I think that's a really great
I just think that
way
it
to.
makes you like if you didn't have a 5K, like if you play Rory at 12 too, you that screws up your whole lineup pretty much. Like you can't really build a very great lineup. Like you feel really good about it if there was no 5K range. But now you jump down to like somebody like Sam Ryder and it's boom, you're still building around 8K the rest of the way.
My ride or die, Sam Ryder. I mean, so you click Rory first, it lowers your average salary left at 75.60.
Right.
But then if you put Sam Ryder, I'm just going to do that since
5,900.
you named that name, who's 5,900, it jumps you back up to almost 8K.
Yeah. So you're
And
working
now
with
you can
8K.
build a good solid lineup.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
I'm
crazy.
not a
Listen
fan.
to Sing still play. VJ's on the senior tour.
Stinky meat.
Just so you know. So I saw another interesting thing. We always talk about course history and being good, and this is again super tough course. Um, I saw something from Ron Kloss, and I love watching all the content he puts out on social media. A lot of detailed stats that I follow very closely, and sometimes I lean to the course history, sometimes I don't. This is an interesting little thing I read from since 2010 to now. So this will be the 14th year of this event, that he's counting. Every single winner of this event over the last 14 years has also got at least one missed cut in those 14 years or in
Oh,
their time playing.
yeah.
So is it because it's a super tough course, or does course history at a course like this just not mean as much?
I think it's because it's a blow up course. I mean, it's a tough course, but there's a lot of opportunities to make huge numbers, and I think that's the
Mhm.
biggest problem. I mean, you could see like the bear trap or 5, 6, and 7, where you could go in and you could bogey all three, or bogey two of them, put up a huge number on one of them, and it's like that takes you right out of it. So that makes sense to me. I think you could see that at a lot of difficult courses. It's like one or two blow up holes and you're out of it. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
Gotcha. And it is also the start of the Florida swing, so we start to see a few more golfers that we didn't see out on the West Coast, some more European guys and stuff like that. All right, so we got Rory 12-2. Let's just look at the top of the board, 10K and above. There's 5 names. You got Rory 12-2. You got a big drop to Cam Young at 10-7, Fitz at 10-6, Russell Henley, who 10-2 is just I've never thought I'd see a day of Russell Henley at 10-2, but here we are. And Tom Kim at 10-1. You're a Rory guy this week?
Yeah, I like Rory and Cam Young, to be honest with you, this week. I
Okay.
don't play Cam Young hardly ever in DFS, but I just feel like I know Rick said it a little. I was listening to a podcast a little while ago that Rick was saying he just seems like that's the right price this week. Like in this field with his upside, it seems like the right price. So I like Rory definitely the best, but I like Cam Young a lot too. You know what's funny? You mentioned Henley. I'm gonna see his ownership. I know his ownership was high earlier. Yeah, 17% for Henley too. So people are playing him. But when you start a lineup and you want that anchor, do you feel comfortable with it being Henley?
No,
Because I don't. I
not at
definitely.
all.
I would feel comfortable with him being my third guy or my fourth guy, but
I mean, he's got great course history.
he
Third
does.
his last time playing here, eighth the
He does.
time before that, 20th. But yeah, I don't feel comfortable. And see, here's the thing, and you know me, that I care very little about ownership percentage. I'm probably the least concerned about ownership percentage. But would you rather have Russell Henley anchoring your lineup at 17%? Or would you feel better at Cam Young at 9% anchoring your lineup
Even
for
Tom
500
Kim.
more?
Tom
Or
Kim.
even going all the way up to, would you rather spending $2,000 more to get Rory at 5% less ownership? You kind of have to pivot that word I hate off of Henley, at least in a DFS perspective, to Young or
Even
Rory, don't you?
Tom Kim hasn't been good, right? He's popped a couple times, but he hasn't been good overall recently. And I'd feel more comfortable starting my lineup with Tom Kim than starting it with Henley for sure.
This is from K1 from the morning show too. According to Yahoo, this is what told me that they are a CIA front right here. This comment from K1. Yeah, I'm all on board. I haven't made any lineups. I know you said you made your lineups and deleted them all. Which I
Make
would
me
have
sound
just
like a
entered 20
psychopath.
more. I would have left those 20 lineups alone and entered another max entry 20 just to restart over again because one of those was probably the winner. Just so you know.
I just had
Um,
a bad feeling. I don't know what I told you that in confidence first off. And
oh,
then
sorry. You
it's
did
just
not say this is off the record,
no,
okay?
no, no. It's fine. It just shows
And
everybody
remember,
how
I'm
much
a
of a
Philly media guy. Philly media stirs up so much drama. You know, that's why I had
it
to,
just shows everybody that I'm a little bit of a psychopath. I mean, when it
yeah,
comes to building
yeah.
lineups.
We all are. If we're doing golf DFS, we're all psychopaths slightly. I would feel 1,000 times more comfortable, and it's probably going to be the way it is. I'm going to probably use a lot of Cam Young versus anybody else in the top of my lineup. This is definitely, in my opinion, his driving ability off the tee. Um, this is the type of course where he can capitalize and have a much shorter approach shot on than anybody else in the field.
Plus you've
So
seen
top
him.
guy, it's Cam Young for me.
Yeah, you've seen him contend at this kind of a course, like a major style
Mhm.
course. You've seen him not win, but you've seen him top 10, top 5 a lot of
Yeah.
times. So I like that. Kind of one more point on the Henley thing too. I was just thinking about is that so I thought with Henley being in the 10Ks that would scare people off.
Mhm.
Having him be 10-2 and still 17% seems absolutely insane to me. It's just
Mhm.
crazy. Like, wouldn't you rather start with Cole? Like, go down
Yeah, I
$300
mean,
and
if
start
I'm
with
gonna
Cole?
go with a high chalky guy, I'm gonna go with Cole because you also got to think about when you're chalky and so take Russell Henley. He's what 10-2,
Mhm.
17-18% ownership. What's he got to finish to pay you that off? He's got to finish in the top five. Cam Young can finish in the top 10 and it pays off. Can Russell Henley finish in the top five? Maybe, but maybe not. Now, Eric Cole has much more upside to finish in the top five right now
Mm.
than Russell Henley. So it makes it more valuable to take that chance on Cole than Henley. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. I have certain guys too. I don't know if this is just like probably stupid, but I have certain guys that I will not play if they're chalk, and Henley
Mhm.
is one of them. Like if,
Yeah,
if Russell Henley, I don't care if he's the best player in the field by far. If he's chalk, I'm not playing him.
yeah,
You've seen him blow up too many times.
exactly. Okay, so you bring up Eric Cole again, another chalky guy, but another guy that's got a lot of you know equity to pay off his price and his ownership. But then you also got he's at 9,900. You have a guy that I know you talk a lot about all the time. We're talking.
Sorry, my
What
intercom.
the what the hell
I
was
just I just had a small heart attack.
the world was that? Um, you could go, 5% less in ownership and go to a guy that you love a lot. Most weeks, JT posted. So this week is the week where at the top of the board there is so much pivot potential.
Yeah, that is a good point. I do like posting a lot, but not this week. It's
No,
cool.
what's got you off of posting this week?
Not necessarily anything.
Because he's a really good he's a decent ball striker, really good on approach, great putter. You know, he's a little wonky off the tee, which could be a problem this week.
I don't like the course history. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, like, okay, so these are his last 5 years: T63, T42, cut, T35, T36. That's not a lot of upside for a dude that is $9,800. I just feel like Cole. I mean, it's just like every single week he's always there. And my lightsaber did go off. Cole's always there, and I mean,
Let's
I
keep
think
this PG. It's before 8:00 at night.
T2 here last year. He threw me off.
Mhm.
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Cole, I like Cole.
Yeah, no, I think Cole's a good. I think if I'm going to take any of the top guys that are chalky or high ownership percentage, Eric Cole would be the one I feel the most comfortable with.
Just pick a dude that
I mean,
always
he was
finishes
the first
top
bet I
10.
made. The first bet I made this week was Cole, 28-1. So, you know, I felt very comfortable with that. Also in this range, you got Sung J.M., you got, you know, Minwoo Lee, Benny On, Chris Kirk. You got a lot of guys. Shane Lowry, Daniel Berger is a name that intrigues me, but I'm shocked at where his ownership is right now. A name that's getting some love, but not enough, and his ownership keeps creeping up. And this is a week where I haven't built any lineups. I'm going to wait till tomorrow afternoon. Keith Mitchell was a name that I loved this week. It was at 8%. Then I refreshed it. It was 10%. Then this morning it was 11%. Now he's up to almost 14% ownership. The numbers and the ownerships are swinging so much. I thought Shane Lowry would be like an 8% guy. He's pushing 17% right now. Like what's with the ownership percentage this week that so many guys are swinging so much?
I think you're seeing it because, well, I think you're seeing elevated ownership numbers from the 9Ks because I think
Mhm.
you're seeing nobody's playing Rory, nobody's playing Cam Young, nobody's playing Tom
True.
Kim. So you're starting your lineups in the 9K trying to get 2 9K guys in. I think that's why their ownerships are so high.
Little
I'm
they
s
realize you can get Rory and a 9K guy in,
well,
and then as long as you find a 5K guy that you like, you can make that work.
you brought up his name earlier, but I'm shocked that Berger's almost 16% right now. Like, it
Yeah,
just
I love.
have
I
you
bet
seen have you
Berger was
really
the
seen
second bet.
enough? I know he's
Yeah,
got good course history here, but, like, have you seen enough? Like, I haven't.
I've seen enough to place a 35-1 bet on him.
I would rather do that than play him in
Yeah,
DraftKings.
like I mean, I've got a very massive player pool that I haven't trimmed down right now, but I can't get behind Berger. Berger 9,300 or 9,200, whatever it is, and his ownership percentage. What's he got to finish to pay off?
Are you confident in the top 10? Because I'm not.
No, I'm not confident in the
Yeah.
top 10. I'm more confident. Like, I think he's got a better chance at winning than finishing in the top 10. If that weird way of saying that makes sense.
It's just a
You know
better
what I mean?
bet. It's a better
Like
bet
he
than
could
it is a
win.
play.
He could finish in 40th place. Now he might not miss the cut, but there's a huge floor to ceiling with Daniel Berger.
Yep.
And I don't like that. Not it's,
No.
now if you were talking 8% on Daniel Berger,
Yeah.
give me 8 clicks on Daniel Berger.
That was my
But
first thought. I was like, I was thinking like 4 to 8%. I'm like, maybe he's worth a
I was
play.
thinking 8% on Berger and Lowry, but now I'm watching the trend on their numbers and Mitchell too. Now I'm watching their numbers and I can't commit to them,
I
and that's
thought
why I
Berger
haven't
would
made
be
any lineups yet because I can't commit to anybody.
I thought Berger would be like 8,500. That was my first thought was 85, 8,600, somewhere in that range.
Gotcha. The 8K range I kind of think is intriguing. Well, hold on. Any of the other names in that 9K range you wanted to talk about, by the
Yeah,
way?
I love this range. The 9K first off.
Yeah.
You named Lowry already. Kirk is obviously, I mean,
Mhm,
he won last year, T7 2 years ago, so we like him a lot, or I like him a lot, I
mhm.
should say. Mitchell's interesting to me too. I was hoping he would be lower owned, but I don't know. I'm not super worried about the chalk in the 9K to be honest.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm staying off of Sung JM. I think he's overpriced. Burger's overpriced, like I said. I just don't understand the Shane Lowry. I just don't get the ownership on him. I just
Good course history.
yeah, I don't know. I would much rather dip into this 8K range, the upper 8K range, where you've got guys like Yeager, 13%, Pavon, 10%, Straka, good course history, 11%. Dude, there's a name in the 8K range that's at 3.5% right now. The twin brother of Nikolai Højgaard, Rasmus Højgaard.
Whose game is just like
Would you
Nikolai's.
rather play somebody like Keith Mitchell at 14% and 9K or Højgaard at 3% and 8,500?
I don't like taking guys the first week they come over. So
It's true.
Højgaard, I think,
Fair
is a good
point.
player.
There's a
plays
couple players that I like this week that are in their first week, but you got to trust their game
right.
because 3% versus 15%, that's the difference
It's funny.
between
He
a
looks
first place GPP and a 10th place GPP.
he looks and plays just like his brother too.
Yeah.
They're twins. So
Maybe his brother's just subbing in, maybe his brother will just like twin magic it on Tuesday or Friday and Saturday.
can I tell you something funny? So I just got a text from Jamie that says that she turned our show on right when the buzzer went off.
Uh, well, that we were getting notified that she was watching.
Yes,
Anytime
exactly.
I hear the buzzer, that's what it's going to be
Yep.
now.
That's funny.
But anyway, do you like any of these guys? I mean, because I named a couple really solid names. They're all modeling out decently. Pavon had his hot stretch. I love Pavon this week because he took a couple weeks off.
Yeah. Rick was talking about on his show that he loves Pavon this week too. Jaeger's the most obvious play to me, I think, in this range. I mean, I'm gonna ride it when it's hot. I mean, he's what 2 top threes in the past 2 weeks. I mean, or 2 top threes in the past 3 weeks. So he's been really good. I like him. Pavon's interesting to me. Sepp Straka hasn't been good. I love Sepp Straka, but
Yeah,
he hasn't been good at all. But he has amazing course history too. So I like him a lot. Who do you like in this range?
I'm just. I mean, we talked about the ownership in the 9K being high, and some of the weird ownerships. The ownership's weird in the 8K because, like you said, Jaeger's been really good, hot. Pavon won recently. There's like no ownership going to this upper 8K range at all.
Right. I need to find one more guy in this range and Pavon is interesting to me. I mean, 10% is not terrible either. My question is with him, can he do it at a tough course? A really tough course.
Yeah, but can he do it at a tough course? I'm off the Napster, coming off of his first win,
Yeah.
even though he
I can't believe
got
he's playing.
paired with.
I'm shocked he's playing this week.
Yeah, I'm shocked he's playing this week as well. If you need another name in this range, I would say maybe. I mean, it's a tough. I mean, 9% is not bad, but Alex Noren
I
at
like Nolan.
8,200 is a guy that I kind of,
He's in my
you know,
player pool for sure.
is he okay? Yeah, I mean, he grinds out. This is a grinder course. Alex Noren loves to grind it out.
He has a T5 here. Too, I
Short
think, a couple
game's
years
really
ago.
good. Putter's really good. Scrambling's very good. I love Alec Noren this week. I could get behind a 10% Alec Noren easily.
Yeah. No, I like Noren a lot this week. I think he had a T5. I think it was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago here. So I like Noren a lot this week. I felt like there was another play at the lower end that I like too. Noren. Oh, Bo Hostler. I play
I
him.
was just
all
gonna
the
say
time.
he had a 16
Yeah.
years ago here.
I play him all the time. I'm just a sucker for him for some reason. I don't know why, but he seems different. He's like a bona fide cut maker. I think he had a 16th here once. So I like Hostler too a lot. That was part of the Hostler's actually. It's funny that we say that right now. Is one of the reasons why I made 20 lineups and then deleted them like a psychopath because I had way too much Hostler and I needed one more name in that range to play.
Okay.
So,
Well, I mean, I would give you the name of if you don't like Noren because he's already in your lineup, maybe go Højgaard.
yeah.
Or you just skip it and you go to that 77 to 7,900 range, which has got 4 names that I'm going to play. I'm just not sure how much of each: Hoagie, Pendrith, Svensson, and Olesen.
Does Hoagie's course history worry you at all? I guess is the question.
It did until I read Ron Klass's quote on saying that a lot of guys that win here have missed cuts here. I know he's missed 3 cuts here, and he hasn't played here the last 2 years. He's a different golfer. He's playing great golf this week. I think he should have good course history here. So maybe this is the week that he kind of figures this course out.
It's almost the same with Luke List. I know we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but
No,
List is
it's
a little
okay.
bit higher price, but like he's the same way. It's like he's a different player. I mean, Hoagie's playing amazing right now. You can't argue with that. I mean, he's been a top 10 machine or top 15 machine. List seems like a different player. He's putting better. He has like legitimate win equity again, which is nice to see, but he's kind of the same way. He's missed his last 3 cuts here too. So
yeah. No, you kind of I almost feel like I've got to go more off recency bias with some of these names versus their course history. And that's why like some of these names that I do like. Did I bet Hoagie? I did bet Hoagie this week at 55 to 1. So, you got to stick to who's hot right now at this course. And I think Hoagie's a good play. I almost think you could qualify Hoagie as part of that 8K range, even though he's at 7,900. Let me see ownership.
His game
Hoagie's at 11. Svensson is 15.5%. Holy crap.
That's another thing that scared me about my lineups that I deleted them. I don't know if I want to play. I know his game, like Hoagie's, is like his strength is his approach game, which is the most important thing here. But it's almost 16% Svensson. That worries me.
Yeah, no. I can't get behind Svensson. Like I told you before the show, I need to eliminate about 8 to 10 names on my list. Svensson, if his ownership keeps tracking up and doesn't trend down, will be easy to
Svensson's another one.
eliminate from the
Just
list.
like my Henley point earlier about like there's a list of guys that you don't play when they're chalk. Svensson's
Yeah.
another one. So
Absolutely agree with you on that, without a doubt. Any other names down here in the upper 7K that you like?
upper 7K. Hubbard's kind of in the middle of the 7Ks, but I like Hubbard a lot. He's been playing really good
Yeah, but
golf.
you
lately.
just said what you said about Svensson. Can you get behind a 13%? It went down to 12, but can you get behind a 12, 13% Mark Hubbard?
I was hoping that he wouldn't be in that range. I saw that too earlier. I don't know. I really don't know.
Ownership is so tricky this week.
The
Like
problem
names
is,
that you would expect to be low or high, and names you would expect to be high or low.
and there's plays that I like in the upper sevens and the lower sevens, but like that, like 74 to like 77, there's not really anybody I like. That's part of the reason. Like Hubbard fits kind of perfectly in that range.
Yeah, yeah. Like I can't get behind Bazudenhout or Todd this week. Svensson's too expensive. EVR's been
I do like
hot.
Todd a little bit for this course. Everybody
Mm.
loves Bazadenhout. I just don't. I don't know. Is there
I
upside
like
there?
Bazudenhout like 3 years ago. He's disappointed me far too many
He's
times.
To me, he's an easy course guy. I don't
Yeah,
know if I had faith in him to play him at a tough course. And
Right.
everybody's like, "Oh, he's been great." It's like he's been, T21, T29, like that range. It's like that's good, but there's no win equity.
Yeah. No, I agree. I skipped completely 75 down to 7 through 72. Shank, Montgomery, Rio, Fox, EVR. Kind of feel like EVR might be playing too much golf. He's been playing pretty solid golf, but I kind of feel like I know he finished 8th last week at the Mexico Open, but he's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's already played 6 of the 7 events this year.
My man
Maybe
also
too much.
loves hitting the ball in the water, and there's water on almost every hole here. So yeah, he's a no-go for me.
Absolutely agree with you on that. I jump right down a guy that's not getting anywhere near enough on the ownership percentage side. A name that I absolutely love this week that's playing better golf. Again, it fits that whole better golf category. He's got one really good finish here and one really bad finish here. Okay. He's got 2 straight top 15s the last 2 times he's teed it off. Hasn't missed a cut since the American Express, and that's Mav McNeely.
Love Mav.
You like Mav McNeely
I
this
really
week?
do. I like Mav's. I just like Mav anyway. But
You've
no,
always been a Mav McNeely fan. That's
I
why I
don't know
kind of
why.
teed you up. I teed you up for that one there.
It's like it's one of those like weird like why do I like this guy? I don't know. I think he played good for me one time in DFS, so he's my guy now.
Yeah.
No, I like him. I think he's been playing really good golf. I think, like you said, I'm pretty sure he has at least one good finish here, doesn't he?
Yeah, he had 11th. So
Yeah,
he's played here
11th.
twice. He's got a missed cut
Yeah.
and an 11th place.
So, but I feel like he's playing really, really, really well. The only thing that worries me with him is so he loves POA. I think he's a California guy, right? Yeah, I think he's from Torrey Pines. He loves POA, and going to Bermuda this week, like that worries me a little bit with him. But you're also talking 7,100. I feel like he's a better option than there's a couple other guys that are in this range that are a little chalky that I kind of wanted your opinion on. Like Doug Gim is one of them. Glover's one of them. I mean, even Horschel's almost 10% now. Like, do you feel
I'd already pre-pulled up Doug Gim's player profile, just because I knew if you didn't bring him up, I was gonna have to talk about him.
Yeah,
like I don't know what to do with Doug Gim.
But three missed cut. 0 for 3 here with 3 missed cuts.
Right, like so Doug Gim popped early this year in my model at the Sony Open at the Amex, and he missed the cut both times.
Yeah.
Dating back to last year, he had 4 straight missed cuts. Then I stopped playing him, and he goes 13th at the Farmers, 12th at the Phoenix Open, and then 8th last week. Like I don't know what to do. Is he the missed cut guy that was terrible early in the year, or is he good? I don't know. But at 12%, can I really take a chance on Doug Gim at 12%?
With him too, it's misleading because he's kind of like the Alex Smalley was last year, where like he pops in your model all the time. Like I think he's like 4th or 5th in my model. It's a little bit misleading. Like this guy doesn't have the track record, but he's a good.
He's third in my model.
He's a good.
He is not the third best golfer in this
He's 4th
field.
in mine. So I mean, he's
not even a long shot of being that good.
But he's got the approach numbers. I mean, he's good tee to green and he's good approach. Like it makes sense.
He's a terrible putter.
Yeah.
I think if you know what, I actually weighed putting this week, which I never do. I put 5% of my model on putting. If I didn't put that 5% in there, he'd probably be number one in my model.
Yeah.
Doug Gim's not that good.
You know
I
who's
kind
number
of feel
one in
like
my model?
I gotta stay away from Gim, don't I?
I have an equally disgusting number one in my model this week.
Uh-oh.
Number one in my model this week is Lucas Glover. Ooh,
I actually love Lucas Glover this week.
me
He's
too,
second in
but
my model. I
yeah,
bet him 80-1, and Lucas Glover will be in my player pool. I guarantee it.
his ownership's getting up there a little bit too. That worries me a little.
I haven't updated that one. Let me see here. Where I don't
He
even know what
is
oh, there he is. 10%.
10.6.
I
Yeah.
actually, if I make an outright bet on you, I don't care what your ownership percentage is. You're making my player pool. To at least a small dose of it. Glover will, especially at his price, Glover will be in my
Yeah.
7 to 8 range of clicks this week, without a doubt. Um, Anybody else we missed up here that you like or don't
No.
like or confused
Good.
on? I'm
Um,
staying away from those mid-7 guys.
what about Horschel? How do you feel about Horschel?
He was
Seems like a good
starred.
horse for him. What?
Yeah, he's starred. Why do I even have him starred? I don't even know. Because he's terrible in my model on approach. He's terrible ball striker in my model. Yeah, I don't know why I starred Billy Horschel. Let me go
Well,
through my notes
yes.
here.
Okay, so he's played here the last 4 times he's played here. T42, T16, T42, T16. So he's either gonna finish in 16th or 42nd. So that's good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I stay off of Horschel this
I'm
week.
joking. Yeah, yeah.
I'm off on Horschel.
Especially
I'd rather
10%.
go down to say like a Ben Griffin or a Johnny Vegas, save a little bit
So
of money.
when I saw that Gim was whatever percentage, what'd you say he was? 13% or something?
Yeah,
And then Glover, I thought that Horschel would be the pivot off of them, but he's almost as high as them. So
yeah, he's
obviously,
10.5% as well right now. Ben Griffin's a guy I get wrong, but I still go back to the well all the time.
love Matt Griffin.
So yeah, so I'll play him. I'll go back to the well again there, and I'll go back to the well on Johnny Vegas again. Um, that's just I'd rather those plays. If I'm playing anything from 71 to 65, it's McNeely Glover, and then dropping all the way down to Griffin and Vegas. That's just where I'm going to go.
I like Lee Hodges has good course history here. The last 2 times he's played here, it's really good. Justin Suh seems like he's underpriced a little bit. I think he had a good finish here last year too. I want to say, but Ben Griffin's probably my favorite, and Lee Hodges in that upper 6K.
I want to ask you about a guy here in the 6K range. He's in the mid 6K. We haven't really gotten a chance to talk about his story much. He's got fan-freaking-tastic course history. He's got 1, 2, 3. He's got 4 top 10s. He's not missed the cut here ever, and he's been playing this event since 2009. And he's coming obviously off of that massive brain surgery and stuff like that. He's finally starting to play golf a little bit. He finished 39th at the Genesis a few weeks back after missing a bunch of cuts to start the season. Thoughts on Gary Woodland? I mean, just as the story of Gary Woodland coming back from brain surgery to do this.
The story is amazing. He's one of my favorite golfers on the tour anyway. So the story's great, and I don't want to say this to sound like an asshole, but like his golf game is broken right now. I just don't have his course history is amazing.
There was one round his last time out at the Genesis. There was one round that he just looked like that. There's a little hope there.
Yep.
And he's also a big game hunter. He's won a major, you know what I mean? Like he loves tough courses. This is a tough course that he's played well. Is there any theory that his great history at this course and in big events, maybe you sprinkle him in?
I just don't think he's there physically.
It's a tough sell for anybody.
Well, and you got to keep in mind too. So he had brain surgery this year. Last year, or was it 2 years ago that he had hip surgery? So it's like this dude's been through the ringer the past couple of years.
We've got a lot of names in the 6 and 5K. If you wanted to pick out 2 or 3, maybe that you want to throw my way here, now would
Dylan
be the time.
Wu, 6,100.
Okay,
Love him this week. We already talked about Ryder. I'll give you another one. Andrew Novak has 2 T8s in a row. I know that they're on different kind of courses than this one, but he's a bomber. So I like him on a course like this. Especially, you typically haven't played. I don't think I've played a $59 or a $5,000 guy in any of the events this year, but I'm going to play him and Ryder this week.
Couple guys that have had some decent finishes in the 5K. You already mentioned Ryder. Names maybe you look at to anybody watching if you want something different, differentiate yourself. Chandler Phillips, Jorge Campillo.
Chandler Phillips.
Chandler Phillips. Hold on.
Never even heard of him.
I wrote his name down, but I don't have his player profile up. Hold on. Here he is. Finished 24th last week at the Mexico Open. He actually hasn't missed a cut on the PGA Tour this year. He's played 4 events this year,
That doesn't
57th
hurt
at
him.
the Sony, 25th at the Amex, 76th at the Farmers, and 24th at the Mexico Open. He's around the green. He's fantastic. He's decent on
Yeah,
approach, and he's decent tee to green. Terrible off the tee, but that's 4 for 4 and made cuts this year. I mean,
that's interesting.
that stands
Never
for
even heard
something,
of him.
doesn't it?
I have a really wild sleeper to go with your wild. That's your wild sleeper, Zach Johnson.
Zach Johnson's in the field. I didn't even know he was in the field. That's
Well,
how far off my radar he is.
obviously not the player he once was. We know that, right? But I mean,
Absolutely.
his track record here is pretty good. I mean, oh no, I lost it. Okay. T12 last year, missed the cut in 2022, and then T8 in 2021. My
I'm
man
gonna
loves
give
the
you
course. He puts the
I'm
ball in
gonna
the
give
fairway.
you I'm gonna give you one more sleeper. This is like a deep, deep, deep sleeper because it's 5,100. I don't know if I've ever played somebody that was, 6K, let alone 5,100. And it's Parker, not Pearson, or whatever his brother's name is. Parker Cootie, okay, or Cody, or whatever his name is.
Cootie.
Again, another guy, 5,100, 24th at the Mexico Open, 25th at the Farmers, missed the cut at the Amex, but made the cut at the Sony Open as well. So he's made 3 out of 4 cuts this year.
Make
Great
sure
tee to
you
green,
play
great
Parker.
approach, really solid putter.
Play Parker. Don't play his brother.
Just make sure you play the right Parker
Right.
or the right Cootie. You play
Right.
Parker, not the other one.
Right.
Both of them being the exact same price is going to get tricky for some people.
Yeah.
So it's just if you want to play, I could build a lineup with Rory and Cam Young if I put Cootie in there along with somebody like Chandler Phillips.
Ryder. Yeah.
Yeah, you could play 2 5K guys and 2 elite guys.
That's what I don't like.
Fill in the rest.
That's exactly what I don't like. I hate that. But you're right.
I hate it too, but it's tricking me this week a lot. All right, let's do our fantasy lineups. Okay, brought to you by Fantasy Golf Pod. They're live Tuesday or Wednesdays at 4 o'clock, sometimes 4:20. Cracking beers, talking golf. Fantasy Golf Pod, Chad and company do a great job. They sponsor this segment where we do lineup builds here. What is the current standings in the lineup builds?
It is me 3, you 2, guest 1. Elise won the last one we did. So
damn her, she's dead to me.
Yeah,
she's tapped into the dead to me list now.
So you're gonna go first this week.
Okay.
I am gonna go second.
All right, I'm gonna go first and just take Cam Young right off the board right away.
I had a feeling you were probably gonna do that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got to go Cam Young right off the board.
Smart. I like that. All right. Since you did that, now I have a decision to make. I'm gonna go with. The ultimate. All right, I lied. I'm gonna go Sepp Straka.
Okay, he hasn't gotten cut yet from my list, but I like that. I like that.
Great history here. I feel like that was a little early on that.
It's all right. It's all right. I'm gonna go with one of those cheap guys that I talked about, and I'm gonna go Chandler Phillips as my second guy. So I want to see what that does. Cam Young and Chandler Phillips as my first 2 guys. I am still north of 8,300 left. Damn, that's crazy.
Chandler Bing Phillips. Your guy.
Chandler Bing Phillips. Yeah, Matthew Perry. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go. Good feeling about Ben Griffin this week, so I'm going to go Ben Griffin.
Good name. I like Ben Griffin a lot this week, too. So that's a solid. That would have been one of the guys I would have pulled eventually if you didn't. So I'm going to steal a guy you love, and I'm going to go Mav McNeely here with my third pick. Damn, I got Cam Young, Mav McNeely, and I still got almost 8,800 left. Damn, I love this. I hate it, but I love it.
I love McNeely this week too. That's a great pick.
So do I. I'm gonna get I have room in my budget to place one more outright bet. It might be Mav McNeely.
I'm gonna go safety this week. Okay. I'm gonna go with Steven Yeager.
Yeah, that's pretty safe. You're always a safe guy. You always play things safe, don't you?
In DraftKings, not in my life.
All right, let's see here. I'm gonna go crazy again. I'm gonna go with another no-namer, and I'm gonna go with the other Højgaard, Rasmus Højgaard at 8,500.
You're getting wild on this one,
dude. This lineup is insane. I'm just staring at it. I'm like, I have no idea what in the world I'm thinking right now, but I'm doing it.
I'm gonna go Eric Cole.
Eric Cole. You're going so safe with your name.
I know. I didn't.
So safe.
Well, I was actually going to pick Rory, and then I
No.
decided to
Yeah.
go a different way. You're
All
you're
right.
going
I'm going to
deep
go
into
with.
the ongoing cash game here.
I want to see what if I pick this guy. See, I'm not sharing my screen, so you can't cheat. That leaves me no. I don't need that much money left over. So you know what? Maybe I go at the top of the board, and then I can go back down. I am going to go because ownership will be different in these one single entries. I'm going to go with Keith Mitchell as my next play.
Killer Keith.
Killer Keith. That's right.
I like Keith a lot this week, actually, to be
Yeah.
honest. All right. I am going to go. I need to go.
That leaves me for my last pick, $8,800 left on the board. If you want a strategy against me here,
I'm going to go. I'm going to take Lucas Glover.
God, yeah, I was going to go with Lucas Glover, but the problem was that left me with too much money on the table. It left me with like 10-7.
That's kind of what I'm in the same boat right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave more.
I have 8,800 left, and I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to go Matthew Pavon with my final pick.
Did you have 8,800, you said?
I had 8,800, and I used 87 of it on Pavon.
I have 8,800 also.
Yeah.
I'm going to go.
That's a tough spot to be. 8,800 is actually a bad spot to be making your last pick in.
It's not great. I'm going to go Noren.
Alec Noren. That's a good pick. I actually might be. I won't lie. Your lineup, I've never actually done, I've never entered your lineup in a contest. Your lineup might get entered in a contest. It's a safe lineup, but I think it's a really strong lineup.
$600 on the table, which I don't love, but that's okay.
Still, I was either go with Pavon or Noren or Hoagie. They were my options, which would have left a lot of money on the table as well. All right, where are we standing with this one and done competition? Again, guys, Fantasy Golf Pod sponsors the lineup build. Check them out at Fantasy Golf Pod. FantasyNational.com for your model making tools. Make sure you check them out as well. The partners and sponsors of this show that power us on a daily basis. One and done. I didn't even realize we've done it that many times this year, but I've already wasted 6 names this year. So where do we stand?
You are just dominating me. You are at $1,421,000. I am at $616,000. You've more than doubled me up so far.
Okay. All right.
Not good.
So I'm going to use my one and done. Again, I didn't know I used Cam Young already. So I was going to use Cam Young this week, but I cannot use Cam Young. So I am going to go. Who did I just say I'm going to add a bet on?
Pavon?
Mav McNeely.
Mav.
My one and done is either going to win this event or miss the cut. But my one and done is Mav McNeely.
He was I picked him to win last week, so I think he hit like 11th or something. Yeah, he played well. I'm gonna go a weird one. It just came to me, and it's a gut feeling. I'm gonna go Noren.
Yeah, I think it's a fair. I mean, because in one and done contests, and dude, let me tell. I don't know how much of Rick Run Good you watched this week. He's doing like a 3 and done for the Masters contest.
Yeah, that's cool.
Freaking the people that watch Rick Run Good got so much money. They're playing in $100 and $500 pools with him. Me, we're just doing this for a beer. You know what I mean? Like. Bragging rights. These guys have so much, but yeah, dude. I saw the 3 and done with a $500 entry. I'm like, who's got $500 to drop?
I don't know. To just basically lose. To basically just give away.
Yeah, dump money to Rick Run Good. And that's it. All right, so that was our one and dones. I got McNeely. Jason's got Noren.
Yep.
We got I'm cognizant. I'm trying to stay cognizant of the time. I'm trying to wrap this up right at about an hour because right here on Philly Sports Network, you got Flipping the Birds Eagles show live at 7:30. So I got to be done and give them enough time to get set up. But I'm very cognizant of my time. But I want to throw one.
So stupid.
I know it's so dumb. It's so bad, but it's so funny. I want to throw one thing to you. You're a father, and I want to get your opinion on a certain topic. And it's twofold. It's golf related and it's sports related. Charlie Woods tried to qualify for the Cognizant Classic, but I guess the CIA didn't have room for him on their team. Sorry. No. All right. Joke's done. This is a serious conversation, golf and life related. Charlie Woods tried to qualify. He failed. He shot 86 or something like that. He had a 12 on one hole. That was basically, where he fell apart last week. But I was thinking of Charlie Woods because I've made Charlie Woods comments on the show before that he's what could save the PGA Tour. The kid's 14 years old. And I got started thinking because Then I saw reports of Bronny James being recommended to stay in college and all the pressure that is being put on famous dads' kids. You got Bronny James, LeBron's son, the second best basketball player of all time, who's an okay player, but there's pressure there. And then you've got Charlie Woods, the first or second best golfer of all time, son, who's actually pretty talented for a 14-year-old. Can you just imagine the weight of the world on these kids' shoulders? Someone like Charlie Woods, PGA Tour is falling to pieces. They wanted him to qualify this week. They would love nothing more than him to tee it up at Augusta in April at the Masters.
Mm-hmm.
As a father, what do you think of these kids being put so fast into the limelight, so much pressure, the weight of the world? Could you imagine that?
First off, it was funny because you said, "You're a father," right as I took a sip of vodka. You're like, "You're a father." I'm like, "Oh, man." No,
Your son is not home right now, so
right, he's not here, people.
You don't know where your son is because that's how good of a father is, but he's somewhere, right?
Outside playing somewhere. No.
Yeah.
No, it's so much. I mean, it's so much pressure on them. I mean, Bronny is 19 years old at least, but like you said, he's a freshman who basically couldn't play in the offseason because of his heart issue. He went into cardiac arrest when he was, 18 years old or whatever it was. It's like he's a freshman in high level college basketball. He's averaging 5 points and 2 assists a game. It's like he's an okay player who needs to develop. But like you're seeing things like you said of people saying like, oh, is he going to go this year? I think I saw a mock draft yesterday that had him 37th. It's like, really, like for a dude that
he
should
should not be
signing up for his dad. Yeah, exactly. And then
K1's bringing up a point about Jack Nicklaus's sons were only mid golfers, and I get that. But this is a different day and age with social media and instant videos of everything. Like Jack's kids weren't getting put on ESPN. Jack's kids weren't being Twitter videos nonstop. Charlie Woods, we know everything that happens in every swing he makes in any event. Bronny James is front and center on everybody's mind because they want LeBron to follow him to that team. Like, Bronny James shouldn't be in the draft, but Bronny James would get drafted in the first round right now if he was in the draft because of his dad.
37th is crazy for a kid that's averaging 5 points a game. I mean, it's not like he's not 7 feet tall and a great shooter or something. He's a 6'4" guard. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I actually feel worse for Charlie Woods, I think, to be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, the kid's 14 years old. He hasn't even gone through puberty yet. He hasn't grown. He's so small. Like, it's not even like he's, at least Bronny's a man. Like, I mean, Charlie Woods is 14 years old. It's like, imagine having.
I don't know, as a father, like, I'm not a father. I don't have kids. I don't know how I would handle that situation. Like, I almost kind of feel like, to an extent, that maybe Tiger should back him off a little bit, and like, we didn't get to talk about Tiger this week, and we missed last week. There were so many topics on the board, but like, I'm not trying to say that Tiger's a bad dad or anything. I'm not saying that. He seems like a great, father. Like, they have a great relationship. He's very encouraging, but almost kind of like you worry. Like, I look at the Balls, and not nowhere near as talented of a family. Lorenzo, LaMelo, Lonzo Ball. And that dad pushed them into the limelight. One of them's got debilitating injuries. The other one couldn't hack it in the NBA, only got picked up by teams because of the family name.
The youngest one's the best one.
The youngest one's the best one, and he's good, not great. But I don't know. Like, I feel bad I really truly feel bad because I feel bad because I'm the one. Like, I'm somebody. I've said how many times Charlie Woods could save golf. He needs to tee it up at Augusta. But that's a lot for a kid. That's a lot for a 20-year-old kid. That's a lot for a 14-year-old.
And you've seen it so many times. I mean, outside of like the Mannings, like I can't really think of another one that worked. You've seen it so many times. Like, you brought up a really good point. It's like, how many times have you seen, oh, he's so-and-so's son? It's like, I mean, okay, so Klay Thompson, I guess, works too. But like, there's so many guys that came up. Like, Jordan's kid played at Illinois, but like, he was just a bum. He wasn't any good. Pippen's kid. It's like, there's a lot of guys that it's like, you come up and it's like, oh, you're Michael Jordan's kid, you're Scottie Pippen's kid, you're so-and-so's kid. It's like, that's a ton of pressure to put on a kid.
Like, I don't even know how I would handle that situation. And I kind of feel bad. And I kind of feel like I will stop big picture talking about Charlie Woods because, again, he's 14. Originally I said he should be playing in the Masters to save golf. I don't want him in the Masters. I don't want him in the Masters in the next 2-3 years. Let the kid be a kid. Let him get to college, and then we can talk about it.
We talk about Charlie and Bronny too, but like, even like Arch Manning, like, he redshirted this year. He's not going to play again next year because their quarterback's coming back. It's like, maybe that's the best thing. I mean, it's like, dude hasn't played one snap in college, and they're already saying like, "Oh, he's the best one of the Mannings." It's like that's no pressure. Like they're both going to
No,
be.
no pressure at all.
Peyton's already in the Hall of Fame. Eli's going to be. It's like you're talking 4 Super Bowls, and he's going to be the best one. Plus your grandpa too. It's like it's a lot for a kid.
Yeah, that's a lot to put on kids. So I think it's time for more people to say, let's just stop talking about these kids because of their famous families, and more just talk about them as kids, and
Right.
like just keep the celebrity aspect of it away. And it's so tough with social media and cell phones the way they are, and instant reactions and stuff. But I think it's time that we all back off. And again, like you said, Bronny's at least 18 or 19 years old. Charlie's 14.
Right.
So it's something that's bothered me a lot in the last couple of days, especially considering I've pushed that narrative myself a lot. So it's just something I wanted to get your thoughts on.
I was thinking too. I was actually thinking once you told me that, I was kind of thinking a little bit about it too. It's like LeBron goes to a lot of Bronny's games, right? When they're at home, because
Mhm.
being in Southern California, it's like that's great and all, but like it's like a spectacle. Like LeBron makes it a spectacle. He
Absolutely.
brings his boys with him. It's like a big entrance. He sits courtside. It's like you're kind of bringing more spotlight to your kid. It's like
Mhm.
who probably just wants to be a normal college kid,
Yeah.
honestly.
He can't be a normal college kid.
No,
Charlie Wood, like, the qualifying event for the Cognizant Classic, like, how many people, if Charlie Woods wasn't qualifying, how many people would even have known there was a qualifying event for it?
right.
I wouldn't have known there was a qualifying event for it.
Poor kid, and the poor kid had 2 bad holes basically. Like
Yeah,
he didn't play
basically,
terrible.
it wanted it kinda made me feel good knowing that even Charlie Woods can he can outdrive me by 200 yards, but
Right.
even he can throw a 12 up on the card,
Yeah,
occasionally. Yeah. No.
crazy.
I just think it's something that we have to stop putting so much pressure on these young kids. And, again, it's the social media age, it's the cell phone age, it's all that. But, golf is more of a brotherhood to an extent. And there's like that, the guys on the range and stuff like that. Where in basketball and it's more mainstream. So maybe there's a few more eyes on Bronny than there needs to be. But man, we're talking Tiger Woods here.
Yeah, yeah.
I made jokes about Tiger Woods giving himself an exemption to his own event. I'm surprised he hasn't given his son it's probably smart
Yeah.
that he hasn't gotten his son exempt from. I'm sure with the money that he's got, the sponsors that Tiger's got, if he wanted his son an event,
Oh, for sure. Kid's a
that he'd be there.
freshman. He's a freshman in high school. Like, let's let him grow up first.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's just something I wanted to touch on today. We touched on it this morning a little bit on Trend in the AM, but I wanted to get your fatherly, opinion on it. Would you, if your son was uber talented in something, would you push Jax? I mean, I know he's a great artist, but are you pushing him to be the next Van Gogh right now?
Listen,
Sorry, Jax. I love you, Jax. Sorry, I had to throw that
listen,
out there,
I
buddy.
call him the phenom. That's about as much pressure as he's gonna get from me. But like I mean, no, I mean, I would never push him. I also think too, this is kind of getting a little deep, but I feel like gone are the days of like, remember when good athletes used to play every sport? Like you'd see like Joe
Yeah,
Mauer. Joe Mauer is the one I could think of off the top of my head. Like #1 pick in the baseball draft, also the #1 football recruit in the country, also all-state basketball player. Like he played all 3 sports and that worked out great for him. It's like you don't see kids do that anymore. Kid A
parents
is a good
see that
golfer.
it might be a
Yeah.
meal ticket, and they
Kid A
push
is a
their
good
kid.
golfer.
Yeah,
Right.
they push their kid to play
Kid's a
one
good
thing.
kid's a good baseball player. You do it year round now. It's like you kind of lost the fun of being a kid. It's like you're telling me that a kid that's good at football shouldn't go out and play basketball if he's really good at basketball too or likes basketball? Come on.
I mean, my
It's not
nephew
gonna happen.
Connor, he's playing soccer, baseball, basketball. He's starting flag football, and forget what else. He's playing something else out there too. Like let them have fun. Let them do a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
Let them be kids. Let them
right.
make friends. Let them do whatever. Charlie Woods at 14 years old, he's got the weight of an entire sport
Yeah.
on his shoulders now.
Yep. 100%
It's a
agree.
shame.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna wrap up Fairway to Heaven right there for the day. We'll be back next week. API next week. Really, really tough stretch of events. API, Players Championship, etc. Make sure you hit the like button, the share button, the subscribe button, the retweet button on this and any of the videos that you watch. I'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. with Trending in the AM, flipping the birds on 7:30 right here on Philadelphia Sports Network for Jason Sullivan, for our sponsors, Fantasy National and Fantasy Golf Pod. I'm Phil Stiefel. We will see you guys next week. Maybe back at 9 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock. We're going to try to bounce this time around to whatever fits with our schedule, but it'll always be on Tuesdays right here on this channel, guys. Everybody have a great night. And yeah, hit them
See ya.
straight, I guess. I don't know. I always say go Birds in the morning show. I don't know what to end this show with. So hit them straight.